Hello, welcome to our recitation 10. Beginning from this recitation, we will just skip the JavaScript and the HTML programming for web application development. Starting from this recitation, we will start our journey about Excel and the spreadsheets. Before this recitation 10, you also need to log into Canvas, going to Files, then going to the folder which is recitation information, click into recitation files. There is a file called example.xlsx. The extension name for xlsx is representing for spreadsheets. So now please download this example 1 to your local computer and then open it. This is the Microsoft Excel software. If you are not able to be available to this software, you should get help from the Scarlet softwares. I think Rutgers provides the access to Microsoft Office softwares, including Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. First, I would like to introduce some basic components of Excel software. So first part is about the columns and rows. For a Excel spreadsheet, there are a series of columns starting from the character A to BC. And for rows, it will start from 1 to a very big number. So for each cell within this sheet, it has an index. For the first cell within our spreadsheet, the index will be A1. And next one should be B1. And next should be C1. And for the cell which is in column A and the row 2, the index will be A2. You can see it right here. This is the index for this cell. It is A2. And then B2, C2. This is the cell. And when you click on the cell, you have selected this cell. You can also enter the Enter key on your keyboard to going down, or press Shift plus Enter to going up. This is some keys for the cell operation. And also you can use the tab to go right and the Shift plus tab. If you press Shift plus tab to going left, this is a method of going up, down, and left and right. You can use Enter, Shift Enter, Tab, or Shift Tab. This is some quick keys. And on the top of the Excel page, you can see there are a series of menus. This is called the menu bar. Okay, and if you click on one column or one row, for example, if we click on the column A, if you put at the borderline of this column, you can see the borderline. If you click on the borderline and drag it to left or right, then the width of the column will be changed. This is the ID line. And next one is about formatting toolbar and the standard toolbar. We will talk about these toolbars later. I will introduce how to use these toolbars to just edit the format. There is another button called tab scrolling buttons. This is like this. This is the tab scrolling bar. If you click on this scrolling bar and then drag to up or down, it will lead you to the different parts of the spreadsheet. And if you click this one, you can go at left or go right. This is the scrolling buttons. And another very important tools is about the sheet tabs. So for one document of Excel, you can create a series of spreadsheets, including the sheet 1, or you can click this plus button to create a new sheet. And then you will get sheet 2. Okay, let's just click to go back to sheet 1. Okay, I just introduced some basic operations and some basic buttons or menu bars about this Excel software. Now let's come into the second part, which is about entering data. So first, for example, you can use your mouse to click on one cell to select this cell. We have introduced the method to do this. If you select one cell, you can just double click on this cell to go into the edit pattern. Now you can just modify the content of this button. This cell. Like we can, for example, if we want to change the value of the cell A5, we can double click on A5 and then just write 1000. For this, and for A5 we can make it as January. Okay, cool. And also you can just change the position of this text. You can put it in the center of this cell. You can click the Home tab and then you can see the alignment tools. Please select the center to put the January text into the center of this cell. Now I will introduce a very important tool, which is called autofill. For example, in this case, if we want to enter from January to February, March, April, and then going down, it is very inconvenient if we type one by one, right? So if we want to enter a series of consecutive dates, numbers, or months, you can use the autofill tool. So first, please select the cell, which is A5, which is January, and then put your mouse on the right bottom corner of the cell. You can see your mouse has been changed to a black crossing. Then click on this black crossing, then drag to anywhere you want. I want to drag and autofill this column into A12. Now you can see the February, March, April to August has been added automatically. This is the usage of the tool autofill. And if you want to just enter a series of consecutive numbers like 1, 2, 3, you can also just type 1 and click the back crossing to use the autofill. This is a very important difference. If you just type 1 and then you use autofill, it will copy this value into the latter cells. But if you just type 1, 2, then select the cells together and drag through the autofill, you will see it has just added a series of consecutive numbers from 1 to 3. The difference is 1. And if you just write 1, 3, 5, if you select the 3 cells and drag to the bottom, you can see the difference between the neighbor cells will be 2, which is follow the rules by 1, 3, 5, 7. Okay. This is the usage of autofill, which is very important. You need to learn to use this. After introducing the autofill, maybe we can come to the next part, which is our formulas and functions. So now, for example, if you have two numbers, the first is 3000 and second is 2000. If you want to add up these two numbers, then you will use the formulas and functions. So how to add a formula to or function to a cell? For example, if we want to present the calculation result of adding up the two numbers within the cell, which is C19 right here. So we should first double click on the cell C19 and just type an equal sign. Then it will come to the pattern for inserting a formula. For this one, the formula is pretty simple, which is 3000 plus 2000. And because the data will be changed with the change of the index or the change of the cell, so we should just write the index for that data from. So the index for the data source is C17. So we should write C17 here, and then plus C18. Now we have just write the basic formula for the adding up the two numbers, which is first the equal sign, then the data source for the first number, the index for that cell is C17, and second is C18. Then please press Tab or Enter. You will see the result has been presented in C19. This is a method of entering a formula to calculate something. Other than the method of just typing the formula in the cell, you can also use the button to add a formula here. For example, if we select the cell C20, then you can click this one, which is on the top of the menu bar. There is a tab called Editing, and you can click this menu. You can click the sum function. Then it will just select, you can select them as C18 to C17 to C18. Then it will add up them together, which is also 5000. There is a very important thing in that if you want to add up a series of data, like from A17 to A19, you should use the reference for the series of data as C17 to the last cell, for example, C19. And between the beginning cell to the ending cell, you should add a column here. So the column representing the series of data beginning from the starting point C17 to the ending point C19. So we add up them together, which is 10,000. Okay. And we have just talked about before, the autofill tool can help you just enter a series of consecutive numbers or dates automatically. And there is another magic function of the autofill tool. It can also autofill the formulas. For example, we have another two data. First is 1500 and second is 2500. And if we use the autofill of this C19, and then we click on the autofill, then drag to the right, the formula has been copied into the D19 and the the data source has been changed automatically, then the result presenting in D19 will be the sum of the two numbers in D17 and D18. If you use the autofill of the C20 to the D20, it will also add up the three numbers together into 8,000. This is the usage of autofill for formulas. Now we will talk about another thing, which is about relative referencing and absolute referencing. So now, when you just write the formula for C19, you just use the relative referencing. If you use the relative referencing when you just use the autofill, then the software will help you calculate the referencing for D19. But if you change the absolute referencing, or change the relative referencing to absolute referencing, which is to just add a dollar symbol before the column index and the row index, which is like this. If you use autofill once again, the result will be different. It will also be 5,000. The autofill can now change the referencing if you use the absolute referencing. So for the data formula within D19, the index for the data source will not be changed if you use the absolute referencing. For this one, it will be also the same. If you use the absolute referencing, the absolute referencing is to put a dollar symbol before both the column number and the row number. Then if you use the autofill, the result has also been changed. It is also C17 and C19. This is a difference between relative referencing and absolute referencing. Sometimes you may not want to present results, but you want to present the formula to others. How to do this? You can go into the Tools tab, which is right here. The Tools tab. Let me find it. Yeah, you can go into the Tools tab and then click the Formulas tab. Click the Formulas, then click Show Formulas. Then if you change to the Show Formula pattern, the formula in the cell will be presented instead of the numbers. But in most cases, we will just show the result rather than the formula. Okay. Now, we will start our true task, which is to just edit up the example 1. And before this, we can also introduce the formatting and structure. These are some basic operations about inserting rows, columns, cells, and deleting them. For example, if you want to add a new row before the row 5, you can click on row 5 and then click Insert. A new row will be inserted. If you want to just insert a new column before column B, you can click the B to select the whole column, and then click Insert to just insert a new column. There are some other interesting tools, including conditional formatting, which will be contained within your assignments. The conditional formatting is like this. For example, if we want to change the color of the column B, the cells within the column B, if the number is larger than 50,000, then we will change the cell color into blue. We will use the conditional formatting. And you can click the highlight cell rules and click the gradient, and you can select the uh, you can just type the number, which is format cells that are greater than 50,000, and you can make it as red or make it as green. We make it as green and click OK. You can see this is the usage of conditional formatting. Okay, now we can come to our task, the example one. Our task is to fill in all the incomplete cells within this spreadsheet in example one file. So first, please enter title example one in the cell A2. Example one within the cell A2. We change it as example one payroll statements. Then please select the cells from A2 to H2, and then click Merge and Center button on the Tools tab. You can see a button which is Merge and Center. This is the button for merge the cells and put the text within the center area. Then please just enter January in the cell A5 and use autofill. Actually, we have done this job before. Next, please copy the overtime from D5 to D12, which is to copy the number 32,000. You can use autofill to do the copy. Then our job is to compute the commission. The commission will be the salary plus 15%. So the commission for the January will be B5 times 0.15. We can also use autofill to calculate the latter commissions. Okay. Now we will calculate the mortgage payment. The mortgage payment will be first the sum of B5 to D5. Then we will plus the mortgage rate, which is located in A16. Now, for the mortgage rate, because it is located within one particular position, so please use the absolute reference, which is A16. Okay, you can also use autofill to calculate them. Then we come to the calculation for pension fund. Maybe we can just introduce the difference between, or we can show you the difference between relative formatting and absolute referencing. For example, if we make it as relative referencing as A16, if you drag to the left, you can see the result has been changed to 0, because for the next part, it has been the autofill will make it as A16, which is not the mortgage rate, but a blank cell. So please do remember to use the absolute referencing when you just want to cite a particular data from a particular position. So please use the absolute referencing. Then the formula for the parent fund will be B5, which is salary, plus C5, which is commission. Then you should time it by 20%, which is 0.25. Then also autofill Okay, the total deductions should be equal to mortgage payment plus pension fund. So it will be E5 plus F5, right? You can also use all of you. Then the total pay will be the sum from B5 to D5. So it will be sum B5 down column to D5. Sum of B5 to D5. This is the total pay. Then please use the autofill. Now we will add a new column, which is net pay. So the net pay will be total pay minus total deductions. So it will be H5 minus T5. You should also use autofill. Now we want to calculate the total for the 8 months. So please first select the cell B13 and just type sum. Then the range will be from B5 to B12, right? It will be from B5 to B12, which is the total of the 8 months. Then press tab. We should use the autofill to calculate the total for other columns. Now we also want to calculate the average. We just put the average. We just type average within the G16. Then we can write the formula average. And the average for the 8 months is H5 to H12. We should not include the result for the total. And press tab. Then use autofill to calculate the average for the net pay. This is a result of the average total pay. This is a result of average net pay. Okay. Now you can see right here, these are just the numbers, and the number of digits is different. So we should make the format of the cells and numbers the same. So now we should first select the numbers from the B5 to the I13. Then right click on this area of data. Then click Format Cells. Then we can click the category of currency, and we should just save the decimal places to 2. And the symbol should be dollar for United States. Okay. You should click OK. Now you can see all the numbers has been changed to a currency format with 2 decimal places. This is the formatting. We can also just add some format title or header and footers. We can select the Insert tab. Click the Insert tab. Then we can choose the header and the footer icon. Head and footer. Click this one. We can just write some name, date, or auto page number on the header and footer of this page. Or you can just name it whatever you want. We will skip this part. Actually, we don't need to add any header. Okay, I think I've already covered most of the contents about I think it should be all of the contents of the recitation 10. You can also just change the format of this line of the title. You can add up the font size and just make the text bold. Okay, this is all for our recitation 10. If you have any questions, please send me emails. And don't forget to submit your recitation attendance records through the Google format, through the Google Forms. Bye, see you later.